Your Excellency, as you look ahead to 2019 and your first full year in office, what would you say were your primary objectives?
Thank you very much for that introduction, Charlie. Yes, there are challenges, and where there are challenges, there are opportunities as well. And over the course of the next year, you've outlined many of the main steps that have been taken. We have launched a fiscal balance plan for the Kingdom of Bahrain, and with this credible and robust medium-term plan, we have a lot to execute, and we have prepared the draft budget for 2019-2020, which will be submitted to Parliament shortly. There is a number of priorities, and if we were to start with the fiscal balance plan and getting it executed through the current budget cycles, it is important to note there are, of course, areas where we would look to reduce spending, especially operational expenditures, and keeping pressure on a reduction of operational expenditures in government. There are areas where we will continue to preserve spending and ensure that we are continuing to spend where it creates jobs, where it drives economic growth, and where that spending preserves essential services and subsidies for citizens.
And specifically in terms of increasing revenues, of course, there's the tax side, and VAT was introduced. What has been the impact, and will that affect consumer spending?
VAT was introduced in the Kingdom of Bahrain January 1st, 2019, so we're about 2 months in.
2 months in, hard to tell, really.
We've had over 2,000 companies registered already, which is a very positive sign. More than 2/3 of those companies are below the legal threshold, but are registering because of the positive incentives of the refund system, so it's working well. The law in the Kingdom of Bahrain that was passed in October of last year zero-rated and exempted certain industries to ensure that, number one, citizens are protected from increases in prices as a result, or inflationary pressure as a result of this measure. And two, to ensure that growth continues. Each percentage of economic growth should have a positive contribution to improving the government's fiscal balances. How do we ensure that we get that done? We need to ensure that we are capturing non-oil revenue from that growth. We need to ensure that we are spending in the right places. And we need to ensure that any subsidies that are built into our budgeting process on the expenditure side are actually being directed to individuals and to citizens. We have a lot of work to do, but there are strong fundamentals in place. We have a thriving private sector, we have a thriving non-oil economy, and we have a lot of the right ingredients in place, and things are moving in the right direction.
And we're going to talk about the success of the financial sector in a minute. But outside the finance sector, other sectors that when you sort of wake up in the morning, you think, right, these are the sectors that I think are really going to drive growth for us in the next 5, 10, 15 years and into the future. What are those sectors?
They are logistics, tourism, the financial sector, oil and gas. And we are...
Of course, you have the discovery as
absolutely,
well.
A very promising discovery, and we will be looking at those numbers through the course of the year as we move forward on that. Are some of the main sectors that we're focusing on. There are major initiatives that are underway over the past 2 years, specifically in Bahrain, to align the many different components we have had to support SMEs. There is a strong fundamental infrastructure that has been put in place in the Kingdom of Bahrain over a decade and a half ago with regards to funding SMEs and providing them with the support that they need. What is the macro objective with regards to supporting SMEs? We have to do 3 things. First, we need to ensure that SMEs have access to capital. The more we ease SMEs' access to capital, the more we're allowing people to start businesses and grow and get the funding needs they require to build their business. The second thing is we need to ease procedures and provide them with the support to grow. whether it is easing commercial registrations, building permits, any kind of government service, because the smaller businesses need to have very simple procedures that they can execute quickly and have the support that they need to grow through mentorship opportunities or other examples. And the third thing, which is very important, is we need to decriminalize failure. So to put those three things together, access to capital, simplification of procedures and opportunities to grow, and thirdly, decriminalizing failure, then we start providing what this ecosystem needs.
Exactly, the right kind of ecosystem to promote that kind of growth. I mean, Bahrain has this reputation, of course, already for the stability of its banks and the financial services sector. Now, I would ask you, especially since you're new in the job, how has this reputation been achieved, and what do you see as the risks to this hard-won reputation for financial stability at the moment?
The Kingdom of Bahrain has had a strong reputation as a bank in banking regulation. We're very proud of the reputation the Central Bank of Bahrain has. It is a decades-old reputation that has been built over the course of 40-plus years. What are the challenges? When you have a very strong reputation, being a conservative regulator, running a highly reputable financial center, there is the risk that you miss out on some innovation. So one of the things that has been done, for example, around the fintech space has been a regulatory sandbox.
Yes.
And it's very important to understand why you need that. The regulatory sandbox allows the regulator to see how new laws, new executive regulations can apply to an innovative space that needs the flexibility to operate, while giving them comfort that this is isolated from the banking system that has a very strong reputation that has been built over the course of many years. Education underpins the whole human capital development cycle. But what do we need to do to ensure that we are providing the right opportunities for Bahrainis? We need to put in place the infrastructure for innovation. When I say the infrastructure for innovation, here it is the laws that you need to allow people to innovate. It is the opportunities you need to allow people to take their ideas and turn them into something that serves the economy, serves the growth, and ensure that those opportunities are provided. Job creation is key to ensure that we are providing the right opportunities for Bahrain. We launched the National Employment Plan this week to encourage the private sector and incentivize the private sector, while at the same time maintaining the flexibility for the private sector to continue to hire whoever they want, while adding incentives for them to hire Bahrainis. We also have to allow opportunities for Bahrainis to become job creators, not just job seekers. And it is with focus on SME development and entrepreneurship opportunities that we allow that.